Alright guys, today Ringing Worm bringing you another video on collecting. I thought we'd have a little bit of fun and kind of go over the evolution of my collection and why collectors collect. Might be surprising to a lot of you, might not be, but that's what we're going to cover in today's video. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so I'm in Walmart today and I just want to show you this, and this is what I'm talking about as far as items that are not collectible. But what makes these items collectible is, as you can see, $16.82 is not very expensive, but these items come with other items inside here. So there is a torso for that character right there, and what they do is these aren't the highest quality characters, but they make it to where you have to buy those to get the other pieces of the other characters, and I'll show you that with some of the other characters I have in my collection in the next segment. Alright everybody, back from the store. I just showed you the last segment. I was in a Walmart store and I saw a DC figure I didn't have in my collection, and I thought I'd show you that figure because I'm not going to buy that figure. I don't know anything about that character. I don't have any interest in buying that character. So I thought today what I would do is I would kind of show you why I collect the things I collect. So, because you might ask yourself, why wouldn't you buy that collectible? It's a DC character, you like DC, all that type stuff. So I thought it'd be interesting just to get into the in-depth reason why a lot of collectors collect. Now, this is my experience. I'm not saying that this is the same for everyone, but this is definitely my experience. So that figure I showed you from the Walmart store, it just wasn't, I don't know anything about it. I have no attachment to it. So, I mean, maybe one day I'll want to buy it and regret not having it, but right now, not really. And I'll kind of explain why in a second. So when I was a kid in the 80s, I was born in the 80s, and I grew up watching the Super Friend cartoons. I also watched the Christopher Reeve Superman a lot. And one of the things that I remember so vividly as a kid is I used to have one of these Superpowers collection Superman, and I had a couple other characters. If you look on the back of this box, this is the 1986 version. It's mint in box. I bought it off of eBay. It didn't cost me a lot. I mean, less than $100, but it was definitely more than it originally cost. And as you can see on the back of this box right here, you have everything from Red Tornado, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, Firestorm, Batman and Robin, of course, Superman and Wonder Woman. And then if you collected those, and I'm not 100% sure, but you can also send off for this Calabac figure. And it's a special offer after you buy these figures, or when you buy one of these figures, you can mail off for that particular one. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because this is how my love of superheroes really started. I didn't read comic books, and I didn't really understand the comic book world, but I did know Christopher Reeve Superman, and I did know the movies. And when I was growing up, that's really what I watched. So this Superman is kind of indicative of the Superpowers, the Super Friends cartoon that we used to watch at Saturday morning. I had probably 12 of these things growing up, and I lost every one of them, and it still to this day makes me sick. So I had an opportunity to buy this one. I bought it, and that's really what started my fascination with this with superheroes. So I'm going to show you these figures really quick. Now today, if I was a kid growing up today, like my kids are, these are the figures that you would have to buy. And now, as you can see, compared to the Kenner version, these are much more articulate. You can bend these in different directions. They're just much more posable, a lot more fun. But these are very cheap, meaning they're not made by high-grade plastics or anything like that. They're just made as toys, so they're not really going for detail here. And I bought this particular figure. If you look at the box right here, this is from DC. This is from DC Rebirth, and it's a great, comic book, I'm sure, but I don't really read that much. And that's what Batman looks like in the comic book. Well, as you can see, there's not a lot of similarities in this Batman and that Batman as far as detail goes. But I do like Batman, so I decided I wanted to buy that for my collection. Now, the one I'm going to show you next is this one, and this goes back to my love of cartoons. Now, if you watch the animated movies from DC, this character, at least to my recollection, comes from that that movie. Now, I'm sure he's in the comic books, and a lot of people probably have a lot more knowledge than I do. But that graphic movie adaptation that they put together, this Batman ends up wearing this costume. It's Lucius Fox's son, and he ends up joining Batman's team. And the movie's called Batman Bad Blood. It's got a Batwoman in it. It's got a Batgirl in it. It's got Nightwing. It's got the Damian Wayne version of Robin, and it's got different variations. I love the premise of this particular Batman, and I love the costume, so I ended up buying that particular figure. The reason why a lot of individuals end up buying these is, for me, a lot of ways they're like crack, and they come with things like this. This is a leg, nothing spectacular, but if you buy these figures, and I'll turn this around, then all of these items, as you can see, there is a leg that goes with this figure right here. So I have to buy all 5 of those figures in order to get these parts and put them together. Now, I did say in an earlier video, I have no interest in collecting to sell. So for me, it's a little bit different. You know, some people will be like, I have to collect them all. I'm not like into Pokemon or something like that. I collect what I like. You can collect what you like, and that's what makes collecting fun. The great part about this is I don't have to collect all those other pieces to be happy with my figure, and I have no idea where that bat suit comes from. I don't know what context it's from, so I don't really care if I need it. But what I can do is I can sell this on eBay and make probably my money back on what I'd spent on this, because people are looking for these items. You don't always get these items in the stores that you shop at, so you have to go hunting for them, and sometimes you don't get all the pieces in the state you live in. So that's kind of, I just wanted to show you, that's what a kid nowadays would get into. If you started collecting right now, that's what you would have to buy for your kids. So I just wanted to kind of show those. But the Superpowers collection Superman is how my collection started. So fast forward to my adult years, and I'm 20-something years old, and I walk into my first comic book store, and this is where my collection starts blossoming from just old remnants of my childhood into an actual collection. And when I was in this comic book shop, they had the toys that, like the ones I just showed you, the ones that you can still see on camera. And then they had these other figures, and these other figures are from DC Direct, or they're from, and DC Direct pretty much means from a licensed company that puts these together for DC directly. You don't have to, you can't find these in stores much outside of a comic book store or something like that, or an authorized dealer. These aren't found in Walmarts or Targets or anything like that. These are found in specialty shops like comic book stores. But I bought this one, and I absolutely thought it was fantastic. Obviously not a movie representation, definitely a comic book representation. But I mean, the detail in it is so much more impressive than the last couple figures I showed you. I mean, the S shield in his cape, the detail in his boots, his articulation, like his wrists move up and down, they move side to side. Just much more posable than the other figures. And this is my first DC Direct type figure. It's the first time I've ever bought a character outside of the Kenner ones from my childhood. This is a 1/12 version. The two Batmans that you can kind of see in the picture here are still 1/12, but the difference is the kind of plastic, the paint. They're much more for display than the ones I showed you before, which are for kids to play with. So as you can see on the box right here, this says 3 and up. I don't have one of these boxes, unfortunately, but I would say that this one is probably closer to 12, 15 and up, so to speak, because they're a little bit more fragile than the other ones. So that's how my collection started evolving. And over time, I bought different figures. Like I added this particular Batman to the mix. Excuse me, I put that one in the camera. That would help. And this Batman is from the comic book graphic novel of Infinite Crisis. And I bought this one specifically because, first of all, I love his costume. It's amazing. The second one is I love his cape, the way it drapes. It kind of flows to the ground, so to speak, makes it look like it's draped, all that type stuff. And I love the detail on the character. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. So fast forward to 2013 when the Man of Steel movie came out. My wife ended up buying me a 1/6 scale statue I showed you guys in a different video. And in that video, in that video I showed you different Hot Toys I had. Well, this is the first Hot Toy that I ever purchased right here. It's the 1/6 scale Man of Steel Henry Cavill version. And you can just see the difference between the characters. This one's got muscle tone. It's all fabric. The plastic is just his body underneath the costume. The head sculpt is much more accurate than the other figures, etc., etc., etc. So I ended up buying that figure, and I just kind of went crazy from there. I mean, I've bought this artwork, like you can see right here behind you, vinyl stickers, different artwork, things that aren't even DC related to help my collection along, but I collect just about everything in the genre. So we kind of started this video as why collectors collect. So what I'll talk about in the last segment is pretty simple. Why collectors collect, and we'll get to that. Alright, so why do collectors collect? The truth is, collectors collect for a lot of reasons. For me specifically, it's a part of my childhood that I'll never get back. It's kind of a safe space if you want to call it that. I collect these items because they bring me joy. I sit in my office while I'm doing work or whatever, and I love just sitting here and looking around at the collection that I've amassed and reliving those moments that mean so much to me, from my childhood and my first experience with Superman, there with the Superpowers collection Superman, to my first Hot Toy there, which is the Man of Steel, or the statue of Wonder Woman from the New 52, or the Adam West Batman that I can remember still saying, same bat time, same bat channel. Your collection is whatever you want it to be. If you want to start low with these little items right here, they're very inexpensive, then that's a great place to start, and you can collect all those items and your collection can blossom from there. This little Superman right here is a die-cast metal figure, very inexpensive, but he's a great item just to set on your desk as a paperweight or whatever you want to have it for. However you want to collect, there's no right way or wrong way. Just know that you don't have to do everything that everyone else is doing. I collect high-end figures, which I would say are these two right here. I collect less high-end figures, which is like this one right here. Or I collect the ones that I would buy for my kids, which is right there. There's really no set way of doing it. So when you start your collection, if you started your collection, look for the things that make you happy. And if they make you happy, don't be ashamed to buy those items. Don't be ashamed to worry about what people think. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to go to Comic-Con here in a few days, here in Utah. It's Salt Lake Comic-Con. And there's a lot of us, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of us. I don't dress up in costumes and do stuff like that, but you would not believe how many people do. I collect toys. My wife goes to collect autographs. Whatever you want to collect is all about what makes you happy. So why do collectors collect? It's different for every individual. What makes it special for me is reliving the parts of my childhood that I know I can never get back. But for that brief moment as I'm looking at those figures, I remember how special those moments were. So guys, this is my video. I hope you like it today. Please like and share. Please comment down below, and if you like the content, subscribe to my channel. I'll keep these videos coming whether you do or not. But as of right now, thanks for tuning in, and I'll get another video up as soon as I can.